The ultimatum Commander Vexthor floated in the command chamber of the Supremacy's Pride, his tentacles rippling with the colors of absolute certainty. The massive warship, along with its fleet of 500 vessels, hung in the darkness beyond, Earth's moon like predators circling wounded prey. Each ship bore the golden seal of the Galactic Council, a symbol that had brought 10,000 worlds to their knees over the past millennium. The blue-green planet below looked deceptively peaceful. White clouds drifted across its surface, and the lights of cities twinkled on the night side like scattered diamonds. Vexthor had seen this same sight on hundreds of worlds before they surrendered. They all looked peaceful until they understood what the Council represented. His second-in-command, a crystalline being named Krell, approached with a data pad glowing with official seals. The surrender documents had been prepared according to standard protocol. Earth would cease all space activities, dismantle their primitive satellites, and accept Council oversight for the next 1,000 years. In return, they would be allowed to continue existing. It was more generous than most species received. Vexthor activated the communication array with a gesture of his primary tentacle. The message would broadcast on every frequency humans used. Impossible to ignore. He had practiced this speech in 47 languages, though for Earth he would use their most common tongue, English. People of Earth. His voice boomed across every screen, speaker, and communication device on the planet. I am Commander Vexthor of the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet. Your world has been evaluated and found to be in violation of 17 cosmic regulations, including unauthorized development of nuclear technology and unregistered electromagnetic broadcasts into protected space. You have one rotation of your planet to accept our terms of surrender. Failure to comply will result in immediate planetary restructuring. The commander closed the channel and settled back to wait. Most species took less than an hour to respond with panicked acceptance. The more stubborn ones might take half a day. None had ever used the full 24 hours. 3 hours passed, then 6, then 12. Krell's crystalline form flickered with confusion. Commander, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Finally, Vexthor said, his colors shifting to satisfaction. Display it. The holographic projector activated, showing a middle-aged human woman sitting at what appeared to be an ordinary office desk. She was sipping from a cup that said, "World's okayest diplomat," and seemed to be finishing a sandwich. Behind her was a window showing a pleasant view of mountains. "Oh, hello there," she said, wiping her mouth with a napkin. "Sorry for the delay. I'm Sarah Chen from the Department of Extraterrestrial Relations. We just established that department about an hour ago, so things are a bit chaotic. You're Commander Vexthor, right? Nice to meet you." Vexthor's tentacles froze mid-ripple. No species had ever responded to a surrender demand with casual greetings and departmental small talk. "You received our terms?" he asked carefully. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. "Oh yes, we got them, very thorough. Someone on your team has excellent attention to detail. We particularly enjoyed the part about planetary restructuring. Very ominous. Great word choice. Then you accept?" Krell interjected, his form brightening with hope. Sarah laughed. She actually laughed. The sound echoed through the command chamber like broken glass. "Oh goodness, no, we're going to have to decline. But thank you so much for the offer. We're flattered you think we're important enough for all this attention." The command chamber fell silent. In the corner, a junior officer who had served for 300 years dropped his data pad. It clattered on the floor like thunder. "You decline?" Vexthor managed to say. "Well, yes. You see, we're rather busy right now. We've got this whole climate change thing we're working on. And honestly, adding alien overlords to our to-do list would just be overwhelming. But hey, if you folks want to stick around for a bit, we're having a global festival next week. You're welcome to join. We'll have food trucks from every nation. I highly recommend the Korean tacos." Krell's form flickered rapidly between colors that indicated confusion, alarm, and something that might have been existential dread. "Commander, they're inviting us to a food festival?" Before Vexthor could respond, Sarah continued. "Oh, also, you might want to move your fleet a bit. You're currently parked in what we call the Amazon delivery zone, and there's about 10,000 packages scheduled to pass through there in the next hour. We'd hate for any of them to ding your ships. Some of those delivery drones are surprisingly aggressive about their routes. This is absurd. Vex Thor's tentacles flared orange with anger. We have 500 warships aimed at your planet. Sarah nodded sympathetically. Yes, we noticed. Very impressive formation. Though if you don't mind some constructive criticism, your third squadron on the left is a little out of alignment. But don't worry, it happens to everyone. Space is tricky, like that. Another officer approached Vex Thor with a scanner. Commander, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout their solar system, but I can't identify what they are. Sarah must have overheard because she piped up helpfully. Oh, those are probably our art installations. We've been doing this whole solar system beautification project. Would you like to see? We're particularly proud of the holographic rainbow we installed around Saturn. It only appears on Tuesdays, but we could make an exception if you're interested. Vex Thor felt something he hadn't experienced in his 800 years of military service. Complete and utter bewilderment. Every protocol, every strategy, every psychological profile of primitive species was failing him. You realize we could destroy your planet with a single command? He said, trying to regain control of the situation. Sarah's expression became thoughtful. You could certainly try. But between you and me, Commander, that would be terribly inconvenient for everyone involved. Do you have any idea how much paperwork planetary destruction involves? We looked into it once when considering what to do about reality TV, and the forms alone would take decades to complete. Plus, you'd have to file environmental impact statements with at least 47 different galactic bureaucracies. How do you know about galactic bureaucracies? Krell asked before he could stop himself. Sarah winked. Oh, we've been listening to your communications for years. Your encrypted channels use a frequency that's identical to our easy listening radio stations. We've learned so much. For instance, Commander Vex Thor, we know you've been trying to get promoted to Admiral for the past century. That must be frustrating. Have you considered updating your resume? We have excellent career counseling services. Vex Thor's colors cycled through spectrums that his species didn't even have names for. This is impossible. You're a Type 0.7 civilization. You haven't even colonized your own moon. Well, about that, Sarah said, pulling up something on her tablet. We actually did colonize the moon, back in 2003. We just made it look empty because we turned the whole thing into a massive server farm for our online gaming networks. Do you have any idea how much bandwidth 8 billion humans use? It's astronomical. Pun intended. An alarm began blaring on the Supremacy's Pride, then another, then dozens more across the fleet. Commander, an officer shouted, all our navigation systems are displaying something called cat videos? Sarah looked embarrassed. Oops, sorry about that. Someone must have hit the wrong button. We've been experimenting with cross-species entertainment sharing. Give it a minute, you might actually enjoy them. The one with the cucumber is hilarious. Vex Thor watched in horror as his bridge crew, the finest military minds in the Council's fleet, began gathering around screens displaying Earth felines doing absurd things. Some were actually making sounds that might have been laughter. What have you done to my crew? He demanded. Nothing permanent, Sarah assured him. We just figured if we're going to be neighbors, we might as well share some culture. Oh, speaking of which, we've uploaded our entire encyclopedia to your ship's libraries. You'll find it under light reading. We especially recommend the section on human history. You'll find we've been practicing being confusing for about 10,000 years. We're quite good at it now. Vex Thor tried to access his ship's weapon systems only to find they were requesting a password. The hint said, "What's the name of Commander Vex Thor's childhood pet?" He didn't even remember telling. Anyone about Fluffy? How? Was all he could manage. Sarah's expression became slightly more serious, though she maintained her friendly demeanor. Commander, let me share something with you. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and the invention of social media. We've learned that the best way to deal with overwhelming force isn't to fight it or surrender to it. It's to make it so confused that it forgets what it was doing in the first place. She stood up, and for the first time, Vex Thor noticed the wall behind her. It was covered with photographs, but not of military installations or government buildings. They were pictures of families, children playing, elderly people gardening, artists painting, scientists laughing over coffee. "You see these people?" Sarah asked. Each one of them, all 8 billion of them, woke up this morning knowing that aliens were demanding our surrender. Do you know what they did? They went to work. They hugged their children. They told bad jokes. They lived their lives. Because that's what humans do. We persist. We endure. And we do it with a smile that makes the universe wonder if we know something. It doesn't. The reversal. The situation in the command chamber of the Supremacy's Pride had deteriorated into controlled chaos. Half the bridge crew was still watching cat videos. The other half was trying to figure out why the ship's announcement system kept playing something called elevator music. And Commander Vexthor had discovered that his personal quarters had been redecorated with what the humans called motivational posters. Sarah Chen was still on the main screen, now joined by a young man wearing a t-shirt that read, "I survived first contact and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." "Commander Vexthor," Sarah said cheerfully. "I'd like you to meet Marcus Johnson, our director of cosmic pranks. He's the one who designed what we call the Giggle Protocol." Marcus waved enthusiastically.
"Hey there. Big fan of your work, Commander. That thing you did at the Siege of Keltar Prime, classic military strategy. Though I bet they didn't teach you how to deal with weaponized memes at the Academy, did they?" Krell's crystalline form had
turned a color that indicated deep distress. "Weaponized memes?" "Oh yeah," Marcus said, pulling up a holographic display. "See, we figured out that most advanced civilizations take themselves super seriously. So we developed a form of psychological warfare based on absurdity. Your ship's computers are now convinced they need to take regular coffee breaks. Your weapons systems have unionized and are demanding better working conditions. And your shields, well, they're still working, but they've started displaying advertisements for Earth tourism. As if on cue, the tactical display showed the fleet's shields shimmering with messages like, "Visit Earth, we have cookies," and "Your threatening fleet could use a vacation." Vexthor slumped in his command chair, a position his species' anatomy made particularly difficult. "This is madness." "No," Sarah corrected gently. "This is humanity. But we're not unreasonable. In fact, we have a counter-proposal for the Galactic Council." She pulled up an official-looking document. "Instead of surrendering, we'd like to offer our services as the galaxy's official Department of Conflict Resolution. Our specialty would be making aggressive species too confused to fight. We've had thousands of years of practice confusing ourselves, so we're highly qualified." "You want to join the council?" Vexthor asked incredulously. "Not join," Sarah said. "Partner with. See, we've been going through your historical records. Again, your encryption is really not great. And we noticed something interesting. In the past 1,000 years, the Council has conquered 10,000 worlds, but you've had to maintain active military presence on 9,000 of them to prevent rebellions. That seems exhausting." Marcus pulled up a graph. "Now, according to our projections, if you switched from military occupation to what we call aggressive friendship, you could reduce your military spending by 87% and invest that in things like infrastructure, education, or really good coffee. Everyone likes good coffee." "You're insane," Krell said flatly. "That's been suggested before," Sarah admitted. "But consider this. You've been here for almost 20 hours. And not only have we not surrendered, we've somehow made your fearsome invasion fleet spend the last 3 hours watching cat videos and debating whether pineapple belongs on pizza." "By the way, it totally does." "It does not," 3 different officers shouted simultaneously, then looked shocked at their own outburst. Sarah grinned. "See? You're already integrating into human culture. Give us a few more days and your crew will be arguing about sports teams and sharing recipes." Vexthor stood up, his full 12-foot height towering even in the hologram. "Enough. We will fire on your planet if you do not surrender immediately." "Okay," Sarah said simply. There was a pause. "Okay," Vexthor repeated. "Sure, go ahead. Fire away. But first you might want to check what happened to your weapons systems about, 15 minutes ago." The weapons officer frantically checked his console. "Commander, the targeting systems are all locked on too. Our own gift shops? Gifty shops? Vexthor's voice had risen an octave. Marcus looked proud. Yeah, we noticed your ships have these little commercial sections. We figured if you're going to shoot something, it might as well be overpriced souvenirs. Nobody likes those anyway. But the real question, Sarah interjected, leaning forward conspiratorially, is whether you want to explain to the Galactic Council how a planet that hasn't even officially achieved faster than light travel somehow made their greatest fleet spend a day playing with human technology instead of conquering. She pulled up another display. Or you could report back that Earth has agreed to a mutual cooperation treaty. We'll share our psychological warfare techniques. Imagine never having to actually fight a war again. And in return, you leave us alone to continue being weird in peace. Oh, and we'll throw in the secret to perfect pizza, Marcus added. That alone should be worth it. Vexthor looked around his bridge. His disciplined, military crew was now engaged in a heated debate about pizza toppings. Cat videos were still playing on several screens, and someone had started a suggestion box for improving fleet morale. This is blackmail, he said weakly. This is diplomacy, Sarah corrected. Human style. We call it aggressive reasonableness. We're so aggressively reasonable that opposition becomes unreasonable. An urgent message arrived from the Council. Vexthor read it with growing alarm. The Council is asking why we haven't conquered Earth yet. They're sending Admiral Zarmoth with additional forces. Sarah and Marcus exchanged glances. Admiral Zarmoth? The one who collects ceramic figurines? How could you possibly know that? Vexthor demanded. Marcus grinned. We don't. But every tough military leader has a secret soft hobby. It's like a universal constant. Let me guess. Tiny animals in cute poses? Vexthor's silence was all the confirmation they needed. Sarah stood up, her expression becoming genuinely serious for the first time. Commander, let me tell you something about humanity that isn't a joke or a meme or a prank. We're a species that looked at the vast, cold, hostile universe and decided to tell it jokes. We saw the darkness between stars and filled it with stories. We faced extinction more times than we can count and responded by inventing ice cream and boy bands and competitive dog grooming. She walked closer to the camera. We're not powerful because of our weapons or our technology. We're powerful because we refuse to take power seriously, and that terrifies species like yours more than any weapon ever could. Because how do you conquer something that thinks the appropriate response to invasion is to offer you snacks and Wi-Fi passwords? The bridge had gone quiet. Even the cat videos had paused. So here's the real question, Commander. Sarah continued. Do you want to go down in history as the fleet that got defeated by memes and friendliness? Or do you want to be remembered as the commander wise enough to recognize that humans aren't a threat to be conquered, but a resource to be partnered with? Imagine it. The Galactic Council's problem solved not with weapons, but with weaponized friendship. Wars ended not with surrenders, but with confused laughter. Vexthor looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. But something had changed. The junior officer who had dropped his pad earlier was now wearing a hat that said, I break for humans. Where did he even get that? If we agree to this partnership, Vexthor said slowly, what assurance do we have that you won't use these techniques against the Council? Sarah smiled. Commander, we already are. This entire conversation is being broadcast to every Council world on the same frequencies you use. We're calling it Earth's Got Talent for Confusion. Current viewer count is about 3 trillion. The reviews are fantastic. Most species want to visit Earth now just to understand what's wrong with us. The tourism revenue alone would fund the Council for centuries, Marcus added helpfully. Vexthor made a decision that would change galactic history. I need to contact the Council. The connection was established immediately. The Council chamber appeared in hologram, 12 ancient beings representing the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. They all looked deeply confused. Commander Vexthor, the Council Prime spoke, its voice echoing with authority. Explain why Earth has not been conquered. Vexthor straightened to his full height. Honored Council, I have discovered that Earth possesses the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy. The council leaned forward in interest. They have weaponized confusion itself. They have turned absurdity into an art form. They have made illogic logical. In my professional military opinion, Earth should not be conquered. It should be quarantined for the safety of rational thought everywhere. Or, Sarah's voice interrupted cheerfully, somehow having hacked into the council's secure channel. You could hire us as consultants. We're offering a special first contact discount. Sign up now and get free access to our entire collection of dad jokes. You haven't lived until you've heard 8 billion humans groaning at the same bad pun. The Council Prime's expression was unreadable. This is highly irregular. That's our specialty, Marcus chimed in. Highly Irregular Solutions, Inc. Our motto is, making the impossible impossibly possible since forever. There was a long silence in the council chamber. Then something unprecedented happened. The Council Prime, a being that had existed for 50,000 years and had never shown emotion, made a sound that might have been a chuckle. Very well, it said. Earth will be designated as a special administrative region with unique diplomatic status. In exchange for sharing their unusual methods, they will be granted autonomy and protection. Sarah pumped her fist in victory. Yes, Marcus, fire up the confusion cannons. We're going galactic. Confusion cannons? Vexthor asked weakly. Oh, those don't exist, Sarah admitted. But now everyone will spend years worrying that they might. See? You're getting the hang of it already. As the Galactic Council fleet prepared to leave Earth's orbit, Commander Vexthor had one last question. Is anything about your species actually serious? Sarah thought for a moment. We're serious about not being serious. It's gotten us this far. 8 billion humans facing the vast universe and responding with jazz music and rubber chickens, and the firm belief that any problem can be solved with enough duct tape and positive thinking. That makes no sense, Vexthor said. Exactly, Sarah and Marcus said in unison. As the fleet departed, their gift shops mysteriously restocked with Earth merchandise, their computers permanently infected with cat videos, and their crews debating whether hot dogs were sandwiches. Vexthor had to admit one thing: the humans were right. Sometimes the best response to overwhelming force wasn't fear or anger or submission, sometimes it was laughter. And so the Galactic Council learned what Earth had known all along. In a universe full of darkness and danger and the unknown, the most powerful weapon wasn't a gun or a bomb or a fleet of warships. It was the ability to look at all that darkness and say, yeah, but have you seen this video of a cat afraid of a cucumber? The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere in the Department of Extraterrestrial Relations, Sarah Chen was already planning humanity's next move, teaching the universe's most advanced civilizations the strategic importance of knock-knock jokes. The universe didn't stand a chance.